Day, and I hope
Honey.
most people do. Don't skip lunch. If you're eating today for lunch, thank a farmer somewhere because
Right.
that wasn't plant-based. Well, it wasn't Frankenfood, most likely.
Yeah.
Tell them what you do, Wesley. You and your brother Walker and are
About 30% of our food we make out back. No, I'm just kidding.
no, I'm talking about the cow thing you do.
Oh yeah, my brother and I and my brother-in-law and Walker's father-in-law, the four of us go in, and we purchase one cow, and they butcher it, and then we get a variety of ground beef or variety of beef. We'll get ground beef, steak, roast, other types steaks.
Put it in the freezer. You got to have a big freezer. But how long does that last for y'all?
So we take a whole cow, and between the four of us, we divide it up 4 ways. And for me, in addition to the deer venison that we fill up the freezer with, the turkey meat, and all the other animals that we hunt, between that and my family of 5 will last us about 8 or 10 months. And then by then, we're pretty much burnt out on it anyway.
Yeah.
So we'll do other things to kind of mix it in, and then
Some tofu.
that's yeah, no,
Yeah,
no, actually,
What's the
duck blood.
what's the benefit or why do you do that instead of going to the grocery store and getting your ground beef and so forth?
So we do it for there's a couple of primary reasons that people will do it, and it's the same reason we do it, but in no particular order. One, it's it's already there for the year, so you don't have to go to the store and get it.
Right.
So that's one, is convenient. Number 2, it's about the same cost, slightly. You save a little bit. If you really punch all the numbers real hard, you save a little bit. So that's, for some people, a cost savings. But the primary benefit for most people is because these particular cows are grass fed, so they're not, and no hormones. No, it's just a cow.
They're drug free.
The drug free cow birth from another. Y'all like that one?
Yes.
Birth.
Birthed, yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
You
I
got
smell
too
what
much-
you're stepping
I
in,
eat
as
too
we say.
much spicy food
It's
and
Well,
burp
we're all
all night.
birthed,
Yeah.
If we weren't birthed, we wouldn't be in a birth.
To death.
I will say this: it is a little bit tacky, Wesley. You putting that cow head up on the wall in your den, along with your deer. Yeah, that was a little tacky.
No, that wasn't a reward, so I didn't put that up.
So one cow, and you split it up you get it butchered, you split it up 4 ways. How does one go about buying? I'm not talking about you have to give out anybody's number
Sure.
or anything. I'm talking about, is that common? Do people do
It's
that?
a lot more common than I realized once I began doing it myself. It's not a hard thing to do. It's not a complicated thing, and it's once you've made that connection with the person that can do it, it's an easy
Our
process.
family has people that do this.
Yeah.
Listen, I being raised a city boy. Now my wife, when we got married, she wanted to move out into the country. That's where we live. We live out in the country, quote unquote. But we have 4 chickens.
There you go.
Okay, and of course I don't do anything with them except I pay for their feed.
Mhm.
Okay, but we get 4 eggs a day.
Yeah.
I've started. I mean, we have so many eggs. I've started throwing them at neighbors' houses and cars going by.
I knew that was you.
Yeah.
No, we wind up giving them away, but they're bigger than store bought,
Right.
and I think they taste different,
Yep.
better. So I know it's some people live.
They're
in
brown or
cities.
white?
These will be brown.
These are brown and some beiges mixed in.
Probably a slight variation of
Yeah.
some
It is.
solid color.
My father-in-law helped me start a garden a couple of years ago, and I'm about to actually start planting one here the next couple of weeks. I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can go out. I mean, the
get eggs out
tomato
of a
came from my
garden?
backyard.
Well,
No,
you plant an egg bush. you
Eggplant?
can't- Yeah,
there is
I've planted
something
eggplant
about
before.
yeah.
you
There is
almost sound
something
more
about that.
city than I do.
Go ahead.
Well, for us and for most people, it's impossible to live off everything.
Right.
From that, doing it in your backyard with a full-time job, and it does cost a lot to do some of the things we're mentioning and time. But there are some benefits from it, and I like sprinkling it in. I still enjoy a cinnamon toast crunch.
Right.
Okay, and you can't
Where
do
do
it
you
all.
grow those?
Yeah. I tell you what, you don't grow them. You
Right.
can't grow them at Aldi when you go get the knockoff brand. That's what Audi sells a lot.
Cinnamon
Audi sells
toast, something in German.
yeah. Audi does some good stuff. They sell a lot of things that
Talking about the grocery store
grocery
chain?
store chain sells things at a significantly cheaper cost, and there are benefits for that in a lot of ways. And we use Audi, but we don't use Audi for Cinnamon Toast Crunch because Chelsea brought that home one day, and it was bird food.
That's one of
what
those
it was.
things that you get what you pay for.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I'm not trying to
You
be
got your
crude
list.
or anything. You don't
Be
knock
careful.
off toilet paper
That's
Right.
or paper towels.
Yeah, you regret it.
Or cereal. Cereal's a big one.
Cheers.
And this goes all the way back to Kroger knockoffs. I'm talking about 25 years ago. I just go, no, this stuff is not the same.
That's right.
So you can get away with knockoffs and
Sure.
major
All
brand
right, I
names.
got an idea, Ed.
Okay.
Wesley went in with you and 3 others went in on a cow.
I had a cow. All right, what's your idea? For you and me?
You and I split up a buffalo.
A buffalo.
They actually do that here in town in Tupelo, like right now.
Yeah, we split up a buffalo.
Why?
I mean,
Why a buffalo?
well, we
Have
don't
you
want,
ever
thought
had
it was-
buffalo?
I don't want to be like everybody else. I want to be different.
Some people eat
No.
beefalo.
I have had buffalo meat, and it's okay.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want it I wouldn't substitute it for beef.
Right.
Beef. I was just
Right.
kidding around. You said they
That you were joking around, but that's what when you said that I was
butcher buffaloes
right here in town.
In-
It-
in Tupelo?
and you go up here to the Tupelo Buffalo Park, and you
No.
and
Those,
you can order.
those are pets. Those are.
It was.
I'll
Those-
take that one right there. The one the
I-
kids
I
are
don't-
riding
I-
on.
You better be careful. You know what you're talking about?
You know what
'Cause
I'm
we could get sued for slander.
No, you go up there right now and order one. Now you have to come back in a couple of days for them to butcher it. And,
No, that's not right. I mean, I'm not against.
Ferdinand was a friend.
Listen, I am a carnivore with a capital C,
but from
but
the
I don't like. I drive by that Buffalo Park. And I look at those fellows out there.
Oh,
They
look
George,
happy
not
to
from
be.
the
You
petting
They
zoo.
look like they're glad to be.
Next
roaming.
time you drive by, you're
telling
going to
me-
hear that ASPC song, In
telling
the
me-
Arms of the Angels. Yeah.
you
You're
didn't-
telling me they go out there
That's
and
funny.
pick one of the. That was funny. You're telling me that you go out there and pick one of those off and tell them I'll be back on Friday to pick it up.
And throw in that small camel over there, too, while we're at it.
That's wrong.
You can't eat that under Leviticus.
listen, when you
Split hoof.
when you check out buy your pass to go through the Tupelo Buffalo Park, you'll walk by a freezer that one half of the freezer's got ice cream and the other half of the freezer's got buffalo meat. Yep. I'm sorry
Wow.
I messed that up. You meant this for a joke,
Well,
and I meant it to get even with
I don't
you.
have, I don't have a thing against eating buffalo meat. It's just that that's the same way if I was a cattle farmer, I wouldn't want to name my cows, and then have to say, come on, we're going for a
That's-
long
That's
ride.
why I don't
Daisy.
help with the chickens.
We're going for a long ride, Sally.
One day, Arlene may wind up on my plate.
All right. There's much more important news coming up in 5 minutes.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
Faith, family, freedom. American Family Radio.
You're aware of how important it is to stay engaged in America's culture war. One way American Family Association helps you to do that is through action alerts. Here's how it works. Once or twice a week, we'll email you about matters critical to America's families, and we'll offer ways to take action. Visit afa.net today and tap the Action Alert sign-up button.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. The bodies of 6 victims from the Baltimore Bridge collapse still haven't been located after the structure crumbled. Chair of the National Transportation Safety Board, Jennifer Hamady, gave an update.
Yesterday was a search and rescue operation. Today they're moving towards recovery. And we need to keep in mind that people are unaccounted for, and we need to reunite them with their families.
One of the nation's busiest ports is now shut down, and Maryland Chamber of Commerce CEO Mary Kane says that means a lot of money lost.
but just the impact, it's $15 million a day just on the impact of on Maryland. We're losing that kind of money. And we have been very, very concerned about our small, medium-sized businesses that make their living off of the port. It's actually sat down with folks in the governor's office yesterday, Department of Commerce, different businesses, and we didn't get to talk to the folks at the port yet, but we will, on how we can get out there and help them. It's going to be, it's a tremendous impact on the Maryland economy. That port generates so much money, and over 140,000 jobs are indirectly related to the port.
And Maryland Governor Wes Moore says the impact on supply chains will reach other parts of the country.
The economic impact that this is having, not just on the state of Maryland, but on the entire country, is staggering. We're talking about a port that's responsible for over 51 million tons of foreign cargo. That's the largest in the country.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu discussed the United States' decision to abstain from a UN Security Council vote calling for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, rather than veto it. Following the U.S. decision, Netanyahu canceled an Israeli delegation's planned visit to Washington.
My decision not to send the delegation to Washington in the wake of that resolution was a message to Hamas. It was a message, first and foremost, to Hamas. Don't bet on this pressure. It's not going to work.
There's a lawsuit in Ohio over boys and girls who want to pretend to be the sex opposite of what they were born with. Jeff Manasso has more.
The ACLU is suing the state of Ohio over House Bill 68 that goes into effect next month, that bans sex change treatments and surgeries involving minors and prohibits biological males from playing in girls' sports. Restrictions, the ACLU will argue, directly harms transgender youth. Supporters of the law, like Ohio Rep. Republican Gary Click, saying it's unfathomable that the ACLU would sue for the right to sterilize children, amputate healthy body parts, cause irreversible damage, and set children on a path to an increased risk of suicide without parental consent.
A pro-life group wants to draw attention to and honor a woman who wants to teach virtue to young girls and young women. Charlie Butts reports.
The Girl Scouts is not an organization that deserves any kind of praise from American Life League. Spokeswoman Katie Brown explains part of the reason why.
They have received funding from organizations like United Way, Johnson & Johnson, that have really tight ties with Planned Parenthood. And not only that, but what our research was able to find is that the Girl Scouts actually have a badge available for girls 6th grade to 12th grade. So this is 11-year-olds to 18-year-olds. And this badge is their sexual health badge.
Patterned after Planned Parenthood's explicit and filthy sex education. Brown also tells AFN parents have a positive choice.
Not only does the American Heritage Girls have their own pro-life declaration on their website where they come out and advocate for protection of life at all stages, but they have programs designed to teach girls about purity, chastity, abstinence, and just helping girls understand their value and their worth and wanting to protect their purity and not exploit it like the Girl Scouts.
Patty Garibay is one of the founders of American Heritage Girls, and Brown says since this is Women's History Month, it would be a great time to honor her and draw attention to the program. I'm Charlie Butts.
And U.S. stocks are drifting a bit higher following a 3-day lull. American Family News is available online at afn.net and download the AFN mobile app for your Apple or Android device. I'm Rusty Pugh.
What does the American Family Association stand for? We believe that our ministry, as well as everything in the heavens and on earth, belongs to God, and our role is that of a trusted manager. These values and more are part of our mission to inform, equip, and activate individuals to strengthen the moral foundations of our culture. We also support the church. We want to be a leading organization in biblical worldview training for cultural transformation. Thank you for standing with us.
Today's Issues continues on AFR with your host, Tim Wildman, president of the American Family Association.
Hey, welcome back to today's issues on the American Family Radio Network. Thanks for listening to AFR. I'm Tim Wildman with David Tagliano, Wesley Wildman, and Chris Woodward. Fred Jackson and Ray Pritchard and Steve Jordahl are AWOL. So they'll
No, they're not absent without leave. They have permission. You gave them permission.
Did I?
Yeah.
Okay, well they're AWOL differently then because I'm Wildman. Put the W Wildman. Whatever that means. Anyway, those guys are out for the next couple of days. Yes.
Well, us here in studio, Chris, Ed, and I are not AWOL.
Oh, you're not?
We're neither AWOL mentally
or
physically.
You're engaged.
We're
here.
engaged.
All of us.
All of us. We're not-
100%. Unless I'm looking at something else.
Or texting like you're doing now?
I'm texting Brent.
Well, he's 3 feet away.
Yes, but we can't. He
So
can't.
you just tell him what you need to tell him. We'll wait here.
Okay, I will, because it's taking too long, and Tim's not going to let me finish my text. Please put Dr. Wendler on our quote-unquote Rolodex of guests.
Yes,
You were messing- well, that'll teach you, won't it?
Yeah, they can't hear Brent talking.
Yeah.
But Dr. Walter Wendler was with us last hour, president of West Texas A&M University in Canyon, Texas. And,
Because it would be nice to have, when
him
we
on
have
from time to
questions
time.
about education.
Yes.
To
Oh,
have
boy.
him on the program.
We got to get to the news quickly.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to make me ruin the flow.
Now,
That's right. Ruin it, Chris. What's
now
the
to
next story?
Now to the news.
And
desk.
now for doom and gloom.
Yeah.
No,
Save your doom and
whenever you
gloom
do
for a
it.
minute. Tell us what about Friday on this show?
Okay. Yes, made the announcement last segment, but some people may be tuning in. Friday, that's 2 days from now, we would normally have Trivia Friday, but it is Good Friday. It is a holy day on the Christian calendar. And for years, we have not felt, obviously, for obvious reasons, comfortable yucking it up on Good Friday. So instead of Trivia Friday this coming Friday, 2 days from now, we will have an hour-long special to start off the program with Bert Harper and Alex McFarland exploring the Word. And then for that last segment from 11:05 to 11:30, Dr. Ray Pritchard. So there will be preaching and teaching and the Word of God during that hour and a half that we would normally have Trivia Friday.
Yeah. Are we going to have any Gregorian chants?
If you want Brent to find some, he could. If you want some Gregorian chants, we can do that.
Do you know what they are?
I do.
What are they?
Gregorian chants were
monks, right?
Well, if you're going to ask me, what?
I'm sorry. you got a point there. I
Strong
was
point.
trying to answer my question before giving you a chance to answer. Go ahead.
Yes, Gregorian monks were and probably still are, a type of monk. Tim, there are many types of monks.
Right.
Mostly
Among
Catholic,
us. Among
us. And order. It's an order, I think. That's what I was trying to get. Gregorian chants are music without instruments, and there you go. Also, I think Eastern Orthodox churches.
That's a Gregorian chant for those who don't know. I got my phone up to the
Eastern
microphone.
Orthodox churches have that.
I was
type of
wondering. I
music
was
as
like,
well.
Brent, that you are quick.
No, that's the Gregorian chants from monks.
It doesn't have to be monks. I think Orthodox priests will do that kind of music.
When I was 27, I got a job leading one of these choirs.
Okay.
Huh?
Yeah.
And
okay.
I couldn't get them to sound right.
Right. I'm sure that's true.
Up to my standards. And I had to leave that monastery behind. But this is what I wanted them to sound like.
Yes.
Right here.
So we all want you to sound like Tim.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. This is I'm making fun. This is a serious.
It is beautiful.
It is. It is. Now, I like it in small doses.
Right. Same here.
Yeah, but they're worshiping.
Yes.
So I don't mean to make light of that aspect of it. It's just that a lot of what you're hearing now is a Gregorian.
I think so.
Gregorian.
I think it's a style of
music
from the Middle Ages. I think is when Gregorian chants began.
Usually, does it even have any instruments?
I don't think so. I think it's all what you call a cappella.
Well, they have a lot of time to practice. Am I
Well,
right?
again, that style of music in Eastern Orthodox churches, I know that the priest actually has to sing part or chant part of the service.
So
it's
basically, your
beautiful to me.
priest has you get a priest that can't sing.
They have to do it anyway.
Yeah. Well, and then the parishioners, what? They just got to fake it. Good job, Father. Then they drive home and go, man, that was awful. We have got to get a different priest.
Yeah, and just so I'm guessing
not
that
sure.
I'm guessing that Eastern Orthodox parishioners and congregants
Take what they get.
are just the same as Protestants who have their preachers for
That
lunch on
special
the way
was
home.
something else.
Yes.
Yeah, but
Well, that
I don't
was
think they have much of a choice in the matter. They get who the. Well,
I think
it's
that's
not a
probably-
pope. What is it in the
no.
Eastern
The
Orthodox?
Orthodox churches have patriarchs,
Patriarch.
and they have one patriarch, but he's not like the Pope. The Eastern Orthodox churches. My mom was Greek Orthodox.
Is the Greek part of it? Because I'm familiar with
Russian,
Greek Orthodox.
Russian Orthodox. There are other Orthodox branches, but they look. Their belief is co-equals. So you'll have bishops, and I think they have maybe one patriarch. We do have Orthodox listeners.
Yes,
They're
we
probably
do.
pulling their hair out because I'm
Right.
not accurately
You're getting
reflecting.
close.
But they do. They don't believe in having one single person making decisions like Roman Catholics do with the Pope. So.
All right, you're listening to Today's Issues. That's the name of this show on the American Family Radio Network. I'm Tim with Ed, Wesley, and Chris. Chris, go ahead.
Yes, the president of Mexico has informed 60 Minutes that unless the U.S. replies to requests from Latin America for aid, the tide of migrants into the U.S. will continue. In other words, you, U.S. taxpayers, need to do things for us. Otherwise, these people are going to continue to come into your country. Examples given by the president of Mexico, he says demands for the U.S. to spend $20 billion a year to Latin American countries. He wants the U.S. to lift sanctions on Venezuela, end the Cuban embargo, and legalize millions of Mexicans that are living in the United States. As part of its coverage over these comments, Fox put together a video featuring some of the president of Mexico talking to 60 Minutes. And the audio here is going to be that exchange, followed by a man on the street segment that Fox went and did with various people and what they thought about this issue. Clip 9.
If they don't do the things that you said need to be done, then what?
The flow of migrants will continue.
I don't think we should pay. They should start working together, solve the problem, and just help each other out, right? We can do it ourselves.
I don't think we should.
I don't think we should pay their demands because it's not it's our issue they're coming over, but it's their issue for letting them come over.
We should be working together. They should want to help us, help them.
I don't think they should help at all. I think whatever we need to do to stop it. I mean, whether we got to pay or we, complete the wall. I mean, because it's dangerous. We're about saving people's lives.
We are submitting to them, yeah.
I think it'd be kind of giving in and just trying to figure something
All right, that's
out that
enough.
benefits.
We're talking about we're talking about reaction to the comments from the president of Mexico, being questioned about the massive millions of people coming to the U.S. illegally, and he doesn't seem to give a rip, from what I can tell right there. And why should he? It doesn't really affect him or his country. But he's giving out conditions, sounds like to me, and whereas Mexico might be willing to help if America did A, B, C, and D, right?
Right.
Here's what I would Ed, I would ask you, why aren't these millions of people that are now coming from around the world into Mexico and then up across our southern border, and literally it is millions, folks, since Biden took over, millions. I don't know how many million, illegally, coming here illegally. But why aren't they stopping in Mexico? Mexico seems like a nice place to live. Why aren't they stopping there?
Everybody speaks the language.
Well, this is my guess. And by the way, I saw an article yesterday that said that Florida, under Governor DeSantis, has put up a dashboard showing how much hospitals. Did you guys see this? Show how much hospitals are spending and not getting reimbursed for treating illegal immigrants in Florida, and it's almost $500 million, I think, maybe a little bit over. Here's the reason for that. Mexico's got its own problems. It could be a very nice country if they could get rid of the drug cartels, but I think they are dug in like ticks, and it would take a tremendous effort to rid the country of the drug cartels. But I think most people in our hemisphere and around the world think America is the landing spot. If you want to get to a place where you will do better than where you are living now, look, was it New York City is now giving paid debit cards to those who are there illegally. I mean, if you can do that, if you can wind up in hotels in New York City after they kick the vets out, homeless vets, why stop in Mexico where you're probably not going to find a job and maybe told to go back where you belong? So my personal opinion is, at this point, I would pay Mexico. I think it would be a good investment on our part. Pay Mexico to close their border. Pay Mexico to help us get people who are here illegally back to where they originated. We shut down the border so we know who's coming across. And then if we want to increase the number of legal immigrants, we can do that. But
you know what? Yes. Well, I asked the question partly, though, in the answer to it. Why aren't these people stopping in Mexico? Why do they keep coming to the U.S., especially from Central America and other places around the world? It's because America is still considered the land of opportunity, and also you can make money in the U.S. that you can't make in Mexico for various and sundry reasons, and then the liberal incentivization of for people to come here because we'll give them handouts,
right?
Like free medical care, because we're humane. And we don't want to see people suffer, even if they are not here legally. But somebody has to pay for that. Somebody has to pay for that. And the American taxpayer, citizen, seems to be getting fed up with seeing this day after day after day, month after month after month. And the Democrats, we're going to have to wait and see whether they have to pay a price at the polls. If the Democrats don't pay a price at the polls in November, I'm not talking about necessarily the presidency, even though that's the top one to look at. Down ballot. I'm talking about in the Senate, in the House, in governorships. Are the people who are pro law and order and pro border control going to win? Or are the people who say let the world come in and let's feed them all, give them all free health care, are they going to win? One or the other is going to win. And the Democrats, by and large, they side with let the world in. And don't stop anybody, because if you do, you're a racist and you're a bigot. That's the Democrat philosophy, and we need to give them all free health care. I mean, that's handouts. That's how that's how these people think. Like in New York, they're still coming.
Right.
They're coming into New York, and the mayor of New York's going, wait, how do we stop this? I tell you what, let's do. Let's give them free stuff. That might stop it. What do you think, guys? Raise your hand if you're with me on this. That's how.
Shut down gymnasiums at schools in order to make room for illegal.
Somebody said liberalism is a mental disorder, and you can see that. Go ahead. What are you going to say?
So we in 2024 we're at an all-time high of double standards on for the liberals. Okay, and one of those double standards is the fact that they want to. If you look back in the last 4 or 5, maybe let's go 10 years. We want to get away with police. We want to, because the police are bad.
Defund the police.
Defund the police. We want to make people believe that that all white people is white privilege.
Right.
We want
white people are devils.
White people are devils. We want to call all Christians homophobic and haters.
Right.
We've got all these things down the list. We need. We don't care about people because we don't do socialized medicine. The list goes on and on and on.
Right.
Yet they invite people to come to the country. So, like, if America is so bad,
right,
in its current state, then why would you want to encourage people to come here? because those things are not true.
Because
you need
because
police.
because they're liars.
They're yeah.
Right.
Because they're liars. You're right. Why do you want to invite people of color to come, if you're a leftist, come to a place that's systemically racist?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they're liars. Because it's not. We're not systemically racist.
Right.
Racist.
And they know
America.
or they wouldn't be inviting them.
That's right.
Right.
Chris, we do have a story, too, as well, that Republicans are fighting the Biden administration on this app. Explain that to our listeners.
Yeah, this is a Daily Mail story. And by the way, do check the Today's Issues Facebook page because I shared an article about the dashboard from Florida that Ed mentioned just a few moments ago. So check out the Today's Issues Facebook page. This story here that relates to immigration is a Daily Mail article, which I'll post here in a minute. Senator Mike Lee has proposed banning an app used by migrants to board U.S. flights. In case you're not aware, we've had somewhere in the neighborhood of about 33,000 migrants fly into the U.S., and they did so thanks to an app called the CBP One app, which prior to this situation was used for things like shipping and logistics, primarily by Border Patrol and ICE. But it's apparently been something that migrants have used to be able to fly into the U.S., kind of a pre-check on the airplane,
It's
if you
their
will.
ID.
Yeah. And Senator Mike Lee from Utah, a state having to deal with things like illegal immigration, says we're not doing this anymore. And he's put forth an effort in the Senate, which, given the makeup of the Senate today, it may not go very far, but it is an idea on how this can be remedied.
Now, the initials you mentioned, CBP, is run by Customs and Border Protection. So CBP1 is this app. And what the Biden administration is doing, and over 300,000 illegal immigrants are using it, but they're using it as identification.
Right.
So whereas the rest of us have to have all our ducks in a row in order to board a plane, an illegal immigrant using this app just simply shows that, and that's their driver's license, so to speak, that we all have to show.
So much for how far we've come since 9/11 with our security entering a plane.
Yes.
I mean, if now you can go back and use an app.
You don't have to have an ID. That is your ID.
That's your ID if you're illegal. It's insanity.
Yeah.
And it makes clear. I don't think the Biden administration is insane. What they're doing is insane, but they are very deliberate about what they're trying to accomplish in this country by allowing this flood, this surge, as candidate Biden put it, into our country of illegal immigrants.
I think it would be a good idea for politicians on the right that are having to deal with these kinds of things to have good answers and to be able to communicate those answers effectively. But also, we as believers, you need to be prepared for people to throw your values back at you and go, well, I thought God is love and you're pro-life. Why aren't you in favor of these kinds of things? We need to have a good, effective answer and be ready for those moments.
I got to tell you, I think if Biden wins in November, I think he'll do away with any kind of border control.
I wouldn't be
Because
surprised.
there would be no political price to pay for just saying, "Hey, it's wide open now."
Especially since they,
I'm just going to tell you. I'm just going to tell you what we all know. I make. What'd you say?
Yeah, and I was going to say too that just add to the plane. He'll have planes specifically for this type of.
Yeah, and the reason the Democrats want to do this,
for many reasons, but what you're about to say is probably the primary.
Yeah, the reason the Democrats want to do this, that is, let people come here unabated, is not necessarily their good-hearted humanitarianism. Okay, we Americans are very generous. We let millions of people in here legally.
Year.
We let people. You have to enter here. There's a legal process to come into America, and then there's a green card and other ways. But so Americans, we've been very generous and open to allow people, because we're all we go back. We all come from immigrants, right? So that is true. But what the ultimate objective is, people like Joe Biden and the Democrats, is they want to let all these people come here unvetted around the world, and then they're going to say, oh, we need a pathway for citizenship. Oh, you mean Republicans? You don't believe in a pathway for citizenship? We're all immigrants.
Look at the children.
Look at the children. You want them You want them to not be citizens forever, just be in the shadows?
You want to put them in cages.
But yeah, I was sitting here hear all that. Okay, what their real objective is, the real pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, so to speak. I don't know where I got that metaphor from. Right now, it's sunshine outside.
Lucky Charms.
You're lucky. You may be
Cinnamon
right.
Toast Crunch, that's a legit one.
Yes. So that their pot at the end of the rainbow, and I'm not talking about marijuana, I'm talking about gold, okay, is that they want these people to get citizenship so that they can vote by the millions. And then they will be loyal to the Democrat Party for giving them this citizenship. 95% of those people, maybe 100, will vote Democrat, and that will turn America to a completely socialist state.
Right.
That's the objective of the leftists in this country.
You know how
to borrow from Steven Crowder, tell me where I'm wrong.
Yeah. You know how you can easily prove this? Because some of the Democrats will say, well, we need immigrants because our birth rate is low. Well, they're not going to Eastern Europe and bringing poor people from Eastern Europe over here to fill in the gaps of what we need, because they don't like socialism. What they're doing is letting people from Latin America, which has a lot of socialism.
But they're fleeing the socialism, really.
Yeah, but they want them coming. I think they're fleeing the life that they're living, but they are probably more likely to vote
so
for
much
socialist.
Poverty, you mean?
Yeah. Vote for socialist policies once they get here.
Similar to people that leave California and go to Texas.
Right.
They take
Still
their
vote Democrat.
They take their votes with them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think another thing, though, that they're wanting to accomplish from it that's not often discussed, and I don't know in any particular order here, but it also inevitably will destroy the economy. If you have the math.
Oh, it'll deflate the wages, especially for those on the lower end.
Yeah.
Because you have people come in here by the millions. They're going to take lower end jobs.
Yes.
For less money than the average American living here now would. Absolutely. Yes. Because, and listen.
And the socialized medicine I mean, shutting down all these facilities to host illegal immigrants. I mean, it's going to hurt the economy as well.
Okay, yes. I'm going to speak broadly and generally here. We only got a minute left here. But these people who are coming here, especially Hispanic folks, they're fleeing poverty and a bad life. I feel sorry for them. Just looking at them, I feel sorry for them. I really do. But just because you feel sorry for somebody doesn't mean you can take the world in.
Right.
You can't do that. It's unmanageable. But
not to mention the terrorism.
Yeah, that's another aspect of it. But I told somebody the other day, Alice and I, when we were talking about this, and I told this to somebody else, I said, you know what? If it wasn't for 5'8" Hispanic men, this country would go down the tubes.
Yeah.
Because these Hispanic people are that are here, many of them probably here illegally, or at least on temporary work. They're doing a lot of manual labor across America that other Americans of any color won't do.
Right.
Or at least they won't do now. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll see you then.